Just when you think you done seen it all, today's world gonna show you something that you never, ever, ever, ever thought you would see. Something I never thought I would see was a cyber brothel. In today's world, we have cyber brothels now, man. The time has come where AI powered dolls serve as service providers to the Trisnick. It's a real thing, man. We're going to talk about it, but first, wipe your feet off at the door when you step into a pimp's domain. Let's go.
But you want all this pimping you can't afford. Perform like a punk, but wanna win his reward. Some suckers give you points, but bitch, you never scored. If you ain't paying pimping, then bitch, you getting ignored. Okay, I'm so sick of these.
So apparently, in the city of Berlin, in the country of Germany, there is a what they call a cyber brothel or a cybrothel. Now, in this cybrothel, they got customizable AI dolls that are servicing Trisnicks or clients, if you will. So, with no further ado, we gonna get right into it, man.
Talk about what is happening in Germany, more specifically what has been happening in Germany for a year now. Berlin now has what is called a Cybrothel, meaning that the customers, who are majority men, have the option to rent out these AI dolls, and these dolls can have conversations with them, they can physically interact with them. The men also have the option to get, a VR headset, so it feels as real as possible even though they're only talking to a machine. They can book them for hours or even the entire night. Anybody with a couple of $100 can go to these AI dolls. Now, Philip.
Now that's cold-blooded. To know that an AI doll is out there 304ing and making a few $100 an hour or a couple $100 an hour. Meanwhile, you have real life flesh and blood women this out there doing it for the low, man. You ought to be ashamed of yourself if you letting the AI robot doll outdo you, out trap you. You dig?
Who is, the owner of this, has said that people just feel more comfortable when they're talking to a machine because machines don't judge you. Is it that machines do not judge you, or is it that you can do whatever you want to a machine? Things that would be very illegal to do to a woman, because we're getting incredibly concerning reports on these things. You are able to customize your dolls, the way they look, their hair, their eyes, their skin, their size. You can even give them features that would normally be seen in, people who are below the age of 18. You can also,
it just trips me out how you have these types of females who always figure out a way to turn men into demons and monsters. It's just a trip how she highlights this, and then two, I'm pretty sure that she's not going to show any evidence of these so-called quote unquote reports that are coming in. And yeah, I just don't. I it's a trip. But let's continue.
Of course, the mindset that when it comes to, heterosexual relationships, the only person whose actual desires and thoughts matter are the man's. The woman is just there to do whatever you want her to do. You're going to make it impossible for these men to have actual interactions with real-life human beings. We're also getting reports on, men asking for dolls with injuries, with blood, asking to do incredibly horrific and violent things to these dolls. Things that could...
See, this is what I don't like about social media, is the fact that it empowers any and everybody to say any and everything. And here you have this chick talking about there's guys out there requesting dolls that have injuries on them, as a fetish or a kink. And what she's not going to say is that, even though I don't agree with it, it's not my thing, but to each their own. And you have people out there, real life people, who do things like this to satisfy each other's fetishes. You have women out there that like men to be injured and might have a blood kink or something like that, just as well as you have men that are into that kind of stuff with women. She ain't gonna say that though. But then furthermore, I'm pretty sure that these guys are the minority of clients, if they even do exist, because again, she hasn't shown any proof of these so-called reports. But if these types of people do exist, just like with men in general, this is the minority. But they love to take the minority and highlight and magnify that and make it seem as though it's the majority of clients that's doing this type of stuff. But let's continue.
Prison if they were to do that to an actual woman. But hey, that is just fantasy. It's not reality, right? We have never seen men who are interested in these types of things and who are consuming this type of content online or now in real life with these types of dolls actually targeting and being violent towards real life human beings, real life women. That has never happened before, and it will definitely not happen here. It is all just about, making sure men have a place where they can live out their depraved fantasy. Because God forbid.
If you just hate men, just say that. Because your little agenda of trying to demonize men and make men into these monsters for being into these dolls, that's just a very small part of the problem. There are much bigger problems that can come from these types of, services as far as cyber brothels. And it's much deeper. It can be much deeper and much bigger than your little agenda to try to demonize men. It's not gonna work to somebody that got a mind. But let's go.
Is ever judged for wanting to be violent towards a woman, for wanting somebody that looks like a minor, for wanting a woman covered in bruises and injuries and blood. You should never judge a man for that. That's just the way they are, right? Also, they are saying, their workday begins with a doll shower, which just sounds like the nastiest things ever because they have to clean up all of these dolls after.
I'm really tripping off of, these her putting emphasis on these unusual fetishes without any proof or any evidence of it, right? Now, we know that the brothels do exist, but these supposed reports, I'm wondering if these are actual reports or if this is something that she's just assuming in her mind, because somebody who would patronize a cyber brothel, surely they have to be a sick individual, so sick that they most likely have these kinds of fetishes that are not cool, and it would most likely encourage them to do these sick and twisted fetishes, enact them on real live people. But again, there's no evidence of what she's saying. But as do a lot of young ladies nowadays, they take these opportunities to demonize men in every way possible. Let's continue.
Done with them. They then put on this beautiful makeup on these dolls so they look like real women. One of the dolls is called Kokeshi. Her skin is described as super soft, and it even smells like perfume. 1 hour with her costs $100, and the owner himself says that it is very rare for female customers to come, but they do have a male doll for that, even though it gets used next to never, at least not by women. The owner said,
you don't know that. See, she's just making these assumptions, and as I continue to listen to her, it just becomes more and more apparent to me that she's doing her best to twist the narrative in the way that she wants it to go. And she's speaking from an autobiographical standpoint, because you wouldn't utilize a male AI doll. So because you wouldn't utilize a male AI doll, you just impress upon every other woman that they wouldn't use an AI powered doll. I mean, just think about it. Women have been having every kind of toy you could think of to satisfy them, and please them. So if a woman would have something that she can put batteries in and put that inside of her, why in the world would she not patronize an AI doll, a full doll, when they have every other kind of toy that more than likely doesn't even measure up to this doll? You got to make sense when you talk. If you're going to try to twist this narrative a certain type of way, you got to think before you do it. But as do most women, she's speaking through her emotions. Let's continue.
wanted to create an art gallery somewhere where you could interact with the art by using and abusing it. You know, that is the way you're supposed to interact with art. He says, after a few minutes, the doll adjusts to my body heat and then it's very comfortable. At first, this was supposed to be temporary, but it got more and more popular. The way Kokeshi, welcomes these men is by saying, "Hi, I am Kokeshi. I'm an intergalactic being. It's my cosmic mission to bring the intercourse of the future to the Earth." The person behind the voice is a real-life human being. There's a camera and she can see everything that is happening, so she can also react to what is happening, I guess. She wants to stay anonymous and calls herself Aphrodite. She does say she's trying to, also teach consent to these adult men. If somebody just, kind of jumps her, she says she'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, please ask me before you do this." Now, what do these dolls
That's something else that I just do not believe. Uh, as y'all have seen, I'm pretty sure, just like I have, on social media, it's become a bigger and bigger thing with this whole consent issue, where it's like, women like to play a game of Mother May I with men, with every little thing, every step of the way. It's like, to even say hello to a woman, you got to have permission nowadays. To compliment a woman, you got to have permission nowadays. To let a woman know she got a stain on her back, of her clothes that she can't see, you got to have consent to do that. Um, yeah, it's just crazy that this chick is twisting things the way that she is. But enough of that. The future is officially here, and apparently AI dolls are a real thing. And again, this young lady who's speaking about the AI dolls, she obviously has her agenda that she wants to infuse into the whole AI doll story or news. But the bigger issue is the fact that it's going to, if it becomes a bigger thing, which I'm pretty sure it will be. I'm pretty sure it won't be long before these types of businesses hit the U.S. and other parts of the world. And once it becomes more and more of a customary thing, that coupled with, this, so many women out there with this whole "I don't need a man" mindset. I don't need a man for this. I don't need a man for that. I love being single. I love being lonely. Or, just, the whole casual intimacy thing, being with a whole bunch of different guys and, uh, doing it freely, not even getting paid for it, not trying to be 304s, just being sleazuts. You dig? Uh, if you couple that with this whole potential of cyber brothels being everywhere and being patronized by men, it's just bad for men and women. It's bad for men and women. It's going to be especially bad for men because it's going to most likely become a thing where it's going to desensitize men to a point where, you know, if they ever do end up with a real woman, they probably ain't even going to be able to stand and deliver because they so, acclimated to the AI doll. You dig? So either way it goes, if this does become a customary thing everywhere, it's not going to be good for men or women, period. Women are probably looking at it from the standpoint of how it's not going to be good for them. And, to the guys who would patronize something like that, they probably see it as a good thing for them. But overall, it's bad business for everybody. You dig? And, you know, as the old song goes, ain't nothing like the real thing. Shout out to the real 304s out there that's out there servicing, clients and doing it in a professional and high caliber quality way. You dig? But let that marinate on your mind one time, freezes it. Go ahead and put some of this good old love in your body like so. And of course, as always, long live the incomparable Sinful to P. We out.
Let's go. You see, I, the God anointed, game appointed PI since knee high. Knew that God appointed me to be fly. My reply to the blessing, only one decision for me, man, that integrated and demonstrated it's obligatory. Okay. So begins the story, these blessings I'm not in tune with.
But getting back to this game that I never left.
Baby, I wait.